Well,
Yeah, that's an
if I
interesting.
can just for the record, so Joel is the oldest, then Bruce, then David, and then Kevin.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's an
the
interesting.
birth dates are this how ours. I can't remember anybody's age anymore. So I'm born 1953, Bruce 55, David 57, and Kevin 65.
That's an interesting detail about the sensitivity. There's always this kind of like a desire among critics and historians to say, okay, well, let's go through this person's biography and try to understand, what is it about their childhood that turned them into an artist, right? And I think that's a kind of silly way to view things, right? There's so many random little variables that go into becoming an artist. Like it's almost as if you change one variable, no matter how minuscule, you might very well not end up with an artist, much less a great artist like Bruce was. But that sensitivity, right, that is probably relevant, right, because his best poetry often is highly personal, right? Very often, whenever there's a sort of I the pronoun I, it's both emotionally charged as well as sometimes a bit intellectual too. But that emotionalism turned out to be pretty important, right? He has maybe what we would call, I guess, in layman's terms, like a bit of a confessional style. So that is an interesting detail about his upbringing. Dan, if you want to sort of say anything about Bruce by way of introduction.
Well, I don't think we should fall into the trap of thinking that the I in the poems, or even the main character in his, as far as I know, only single great novel,
Hmm.
City Boy, is him. Because I know Bruce told me that 95% of City Boy was what happened to him, but 5% or so he made up, and for dramatic purposes and other things go along there. So I don't want to fall into that trap. And I know, having read poems and having talked with Bruce and having him brought poems to the Uptown Poetry Group, um, yes, he would write about certain things and his beliefs and often things that happened to him, but it would be a task to try to separate what was something that actually happened to Bruce and something that he might have imagined while sitting on a bus. Throughout the poems, riding buses, because after the accident, Bruce never drove. So riding buses, there are certain themes that come up again and again, and it. You don't want to fall into that trap with like Woody Allen, as you know, having written a book about him, of
Hmm.
making Woody Allen the character, Woody Allen the man. They're separate, but there's going to be 90, 95% overlap.